Executive Officer of HMS Marseille, Lieutenant George Haig, said Marseille routinely acts as one of the high readiness units to protect UK waters, alongside her sister ships HMS Tyne and Severn. Our ability to provide a presence to monitor the Russian activity in UK waters is no small feat, especially with such an increase in activity over the last few months. I am extremely proud of Marseille's ship's company for their continued dedication and hard work in delivering Marseille to the front line for these operations. We are very proud to be a part of the Royal Navy's commitment to the maritime security of the United Kingdom. Working with our NATO allies continues to highlight the teamwork and strength behind the NATO alliance. HMS Marseille was first activated to track the Alexander Chabalon on the morning of March the 29th near the island of Ushant off the northwest coast of France, reporting on their movements with a Wildcat helicopter as the Russians sailed east through the Channel and into North Sea until March the 31st. Then, as the Admiral Gregovich sailed towards the Strait of Dover, Marseille was ready to intercept, monitoring from April the 2nd as the frigate sailed west, battling high winds and sea from Storm Dave to meet Kilo-class submarine Krasnodar and accompanying tug Altay near the Ushant. Marseille and RFA Tide Force then worked together with Belgian, French, and Dutch aircraft and ships to monitor the Russian trio as they together made their eastbound voyage through the Channel. Meanwhile, during a 2-week mission from March 31st, Somerset and Merlin helicopter from 814 Naval Air Squadron monitored Severomorsk. HMS St. Albans met Somerset to formally hand over duties of Operation Ceto, the UK's standing operations to protect Britain's strategic deterrence and monitoring potential submarine activities in the North Atlantic. HMS Somerset's commanding officer, Commander Matt Millyard, said, "Since returning from operations in December 2025, an incredible amount of work has gone into preparing HMS Somerset to reassume the OPSETO duty again, and I am very proud of the crew for achieving so much in such little time. The months ahead promise to be a complex mix of tasking for the ship, but we are ready and look forward to the challenge." There you go.
And I think just followed up with the government's press release.
Government's press release.
The first one in the list.
The first one?
Yep.
The Reddit.com?
No, sorry. The UK.
Government.
UK, yeah.
Okay.
Government giving press release.
I was going to say I don't think it's Reddit. It could be. I don't think it's Reddit.
I repeat that.
Okay, so get this up. And excuse my English because people over in the UK talk funny. That's all I gotta say. Okay, so press release. UK exposes covert Russian submarine operations in and around the UK waters. The British military has exposed a covert Russian submarine operation in and around UK waters, forcing the vessels to retreat back to Russia. From Ministry of Defense, the RT Han Cirker, Starmer, KCB, KCMP, and RT Han John Healy, MP, published April the 9th, 2026. UK reveals Russian submarine operation in and around British waters. British personnel, ships, and aircraft deployed to send a message to President Putin and keep the UK and our allies secure. Operation was part of a Russian bluff, while other specialist vessels conducted various activities near critical underwater infrastructures. British aircraft and warships identified a Russian attack submarine entering international waters in the high north several weeks ago. Tracked its activity around the clock. Service personnel quickly established that the submarine was deployed as a distraction, and the UK worked closely with allies, including Norway, to identify and monitor other Russian undersea naval units from the main Directorate of Deep Sea Research, known as GUGI, G-U-G-I, conducting nefarious activities over critical undersea infrastructures elsewhere. The UK and its allies began a campaign of overt action to ensure the Russian units knew that they were being monitored and were no longer covert as Putin had planned. Both the GUGI units and the Akula-class submarine have subsequently retreated home, having failed to complete their operation in secrecy. Prime Minister Keir Starmer said, "I am determined to protect the British people from paying the price for Putin's aggression in their household bills. That is why we will not shy away from taking action and exposing Russia's destabilizing activities that seek to test our resolve. Our armed forces are among the best in the world, and the British public should be in no doubt that this government will do whatever it takes to defend our national and economic security wherever in the world that is needed." Defense Secretary John Healy, MP, said, "I want to pay tribute to the UK personnel who spent many days tracking these Russian submarines in extremely challenging and treacherous conditions. While the eyes of many, understandably, were on the Middle East, our British armed forces were simultaneously responding to rising Russian threats north of the UK. As we act to defend our interests and allies in the Middle East, we are tackling increasing threats to NATO in the high north, maintaining strong support for Ukraine and protecting our UK homeland. To Putin, I say this: we see you. We see your activity over our underwater infrastructures. You should know that any attempt to damage It will not be tolerated and would have serious consequences. Subsea fiber optic cables are essential for all digital communications, with over 99% of international data traffic, including voice calls and internet data, traveling through subsea cables. This underpins global banking, trade, and communications. Conducted under the cover of events in the Middle East, the Russian attack submarine and multiple vessels from the main Directorate of Deep Sea Research, known as GUGI or GUGI, entered international waters in the High North. The Royal Navy deployed a Type 23 frigate, HMS St. Albans, RFA Tidespring, and Merlin helicopters to track the attack submarine as it operated near British territories or territorial waters. Working alongside RAF P-8 aircraft, the submarine was tracked 24/7 in an operation carried out with allies. As part of the operation, which saw British ships cover thousands of miles, the RAF and Navy deployed sonobuoys to track the Russian vessels. While the Russian attack submarine has now headed back towards Russia, the UK has kept both naval vessels and aircraft ready to respond should Russian vessels return. GUGI is Russia's long-running military program to develop capabilities to be deployed for specialist surface vessels and submarines that are intended to survey underwater infrastructures during peacetime, but then damage or destroy infrastructures during a conflict. British defenses were previously tested by GUGI when the Russian spy ship Yanter sailed near UK waters last year. The ship was tracked by a Royal Navy frigate in RAF P-8, with lasers being directed at British pilots. The Yantar is one of the key vessels used by Russia to threaten the UK and our allies. Over the last 2 years, the UK has seen a 30% increase in Russian vessels threatening the UK waters. This comes as the Royal Navy completes 10 days of intensive monitoring operations of Russian warships and a submarine which entered UK waters in the English Channel and North Sea. HMS Somerset and HMS Morsay, supported by tanker RFA Tide Force and Wildcat helicopters, tracked the movement of a Russian destroyer, frigate, landing ship, and Kilo-class submarine. The Royal Navy ships used their powerful array of radars and sensors to track the Russian vessels. The UK is stepping up on its commitment to protect our critical underwater infrastructures. This includes an additional £100 million to support our vital P-8 submarine hunting aircraft. Delivering on the recommendations of the Strategic Defense Review,